Right, guys, first of all, is it rolling already?
Yes, it's on.
We felt this was an average debate. So,
Nice.
high five to Sarah, because for the first time this was.
I think it's the first one that spoke for the first time in an average debate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the rankings, give you the ranking we established, and justify my rankings like that. And I'm also gonna do a comparative thing of everyone. In first place we have closing government. Yes. In second place we have opening opposition. In third place we have opening government, and in fourth place we have closing opposition. The main things we established in this debate, first of all, were the essence of Christianity and religion, and the effects of organized religion on this, and the interpretation of Christianity and religion. I'm going to give you, from fourth, discuss why they placed there, and then third, second, and third. In fourth place, what we liked about the arguments that were brought by the closing opposition was, first of all, this idea that it's not, because there's such a wide interpretation, a wide range of interpretation, we need someone with a higher knowledge and a neutral person to be there to help people understand this, the complex religion. So someone in a higher power who then is able to help people get to a certain understanding of this. And also the argument about how church is not simply about going there and having someone tell you what to do. It's about that unity factor, the bringing, the whole bringing people together in a community where they can discuss, or they can discuss and enhance their faith. Why we placed you guys in fourth, first of all, in terms of that first argument I mentioned about the need for for a higher a person with a higher understanding. We didn't give you guys that much credit for it because we felt that it had already been well analyzed by the opening opposition. We felt like your take on it wasn't enough to see what had already been brought by them in terms of their arguments of, as they called it, the complexities of religion. Their case was about how you need, because it's so open to diverse interpretations, you need someone who's more knowledgeable than you and who's able to guide people to a certain interpretation. We felt like we couldn't credit you that much for that argument because it had already been mentioned in the opening opposition. And the case about how organized religion brings people together, we felt, and this is why we placed the opening, one of the reasons why we placed the opening government above you, is because we found it clashed directly with the argument about the fractionalization and the segregation that is brought about by organized religion in the fact that there is so many, because there are different kinds of Christian churches that interpret things their own way, it causes fractions between those certain groups, and these fractions they follow a certain hierarchy, and there is often segregation, especially of the smaller churches, because of the organized religion. And we felt like when we had to weigh up the whole unity versus segregation thing, we felt they did more to win over that argument. Why we placed you in third place is what we liked was the argument of fractionalization. We felt that was your strongest argument in showing how this organized religion has caused a lot of segregation amongst the churches. Where we didn't buy your argument is we felt like there were a lot of underanalyzed statements being made.
Yeah.
I'm glad you actually noticed that. first of all, we didn't see a direct link between the problems you mentioned, I'm going to get to those now, and why they're necessarily caused by organized religion. I'm going to start with the argument of the Amish community, where you told us about how they live in a certain way to get themselves closer to God, and they humble themselves down to get to that certain level. Where we failed to see a link between their lifestyle and them being closer to God because they don't follow a certain organized religion. It seemed more like you were saying is, well, what you established spoke more towards the way they choose to live life and separating themselves from the pleasures of this world. So we didn't see how the problem you established there got linked to organized religion, and also the argument of the loss of humility amongst people. The fact that we don't have that sense of companionship these days, we didn't see a link between that and organized religion. So we couldn't credit you that much in this debate. However, the argument, like I mentioned already, that we felt was strongest is in showing how there's a segregation in this, and this is also why we didn't place you above your closing government, is because they showed us in a more persuasive way how this segregation actually takes place, with, first of all, how they segregate themselves from the rest of the world, because now the world views them not as people that are getting closer to God, but people who follow certain rituals. So that segregation occurs there, and also the segregation within the churches in the analysis on the old against the young people, ensuring that because your ranking in the church position is not as high as someone else, then your interpretation can't necessarily be right. We felt they did more towards proving exactly how that segregation, so that's why we gave them that argument. Why we placed the opening opposition above you guys is because of the analysis on why exactly we need religion to be organized. Because if we have it open to interpretation, then anyone can just do things the way they want, and this brings about chaos. And because it's such a complex book and a complex thing to understand, you need someone with more knowledge of it, with more knowledge of the Bible and of Christianity to be there to help you with this interpretation. We felt like they had a stronger analysis on that point, and so the harms of organized religion that you mentioned, because they were under-analyzed, didn't hold as much weight as the matter they brought. The reason why we placed them in the first place is because we like the argument about how, first of all, how the stigmatization happens, and the argument of a ritual religion in saying that this is how it's being interpreted and how it takes away from the core principles of Christianity, in the fact that it's no longer about your faith or your belief. It's more about how well you can follow a certain set of rules. We felt like that argument, it went about your argument of the need for a higher, more knowledgeable person. Yes? Okay, we felt like it was about your argument of a more knowledgeable person in faith, especially where they backed it up with the whole example of how people follow blindly to the churches, and we felt that there was a clash there with your rebuttal, where you said it's not Christianity that causes wars, it's the need for power, and it's people that do this. And where they showed us that people follow this religion blindly, they showed us exactly how this becomes a problem of organized religion, because people don't necessarily now follow the religion because it's right. They just listen to a pastor that says do this, and they do this because if they don't do this, then they'll be removed from the society, and they'll be segregated from the society. So we felt like they take on that argument way stronger than your case. And overall, the analysis on how exactly the people follow blindly. There was one example of that guy who made people eat grass. I still think they were high, but it's fine. In proving that people don't necessarily, people just listen blindly and follow, and this becomes a problem with organized religion, because now you follow what someone else is telling you to do and not so much what the core principle of religion is supposed to be. And the argument, the analysis on how segregation occurs and what organized religion has made Christianity to be instead of what it should have been, we felt their case was stronger than yours, and that's why we placed them first.
Wow.